What is up, Star Wars family, and welcome to Star Wars Revolution. Today, we'll be discussing the top 5 things we want to see from the upcoming Star Wars Battlefront sequel in 2017. Now, as Star Wars fans, a lot of you would have probably bought Battlefront 2015 and experienced it for yourselves. However, it's safe to say that whilst it did have good graphics and it ran rather smoothly, many of us were very disappointed due to its lack of content and overall thin feeling. But not to worry, DICE has another chance this year to redeem themselves, and thus, here are the top 5 things we want to see in Star Wars Battlefront 2 to ensure it's a success. Now, I've collected these top 5 things from my own personal opinion, your own personal opinion from various online polls I've seen, and also from a mixture of gaming websites that have provided these sources, and thus it's a mixture of everyone's opinion to see what we want to see in Battlefront 2 this year. Number 1. Space battles. Now, many of you would feel extreme nostalgia upon remembrance of the hours whiled away in game modes such as Galactic Conquest, where you would battle it out with the other team in space. I mean, 2 cruisers alongside each other surrounded by frigates you had to knock out, and it was just amazing. I mean, you'd spawn in your cruiser and then you could go into a one-man fighter and head out for some dogfights, or maybe try and destroy the enemy frigates, or maybe head into the enemy's cruiser and infiltrate it and then knock out their shields. I mean, it just had that iconic feeling of Star Wars. It felt like a Star War. And I mean, that's what the name suggests, doesn't it? Star Wars, Star, implies some level of space interaction. And thus, many fans were extremely surprised when Star Wars Battlefront 2015 failed to deliver on this. They didn't include any space battles. Instead, they tried to kind of half-heartedly reply to this through introducing the skirmish game mode, which was a 20v20 starfighter match in which you could play in starfighters such as, the X-Wing, TIE Fighter, TIE Interceptor, and A-Wing, with hero vehicles such as the Millennium Falcon and Boba Fett's Slave One. However, it just didn't have that iconic, nostalgic Star Wars feeling that many of us were yearning for. We hadn't had this feeling since, 2005, and now imagine what it would have been like on the next-gen console. However, Battlefront failed to deliver on this. They never really provided a clear answer as to why, and this led a lot of fans feeling extremely angry, sad, and disappointed, and led to a lot of people not buying or not playing the game. Now, in the 3rd installment of DLC, the Death Star DLC, Battlefront did try and actually deliver on this through providing a skirmish mode, which was technically in space. Now, whilst this was technically a space battle, it was still the kind of underwhelming skirmish mode we remembered, and you could only pick between 2 starships. It wasn't that feeling of the hangar. You enter the hangar, you had a range of starships before you. You could enter into the gunship, go on the laser or pilot it, or just be a passenger to infiltrate the enemy ship. You didn't have the alarm blaring. It didn't feel like Star Wars. Now, it was better than the original skirmish mode, don't get me wrong, and did satisfy fans to some degree. However, it's not what we wanted originally. Thus, providing space battles would appeal to so many fans. I don't think there's one fan out there that would object to the old style space battles. And this would open up new game modes such as a revitalization of the old Galactic Conquest game mode, which I guarantee everyone would love. Moving on to number 2, multiple eras. Now, this is something Star Wars Battlefront 2015 did lack, which Star Wars Battlefront 2, the old one, possessed. Star Wars Battlefront 2 had the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, and whilst many people might not have liked the prequel movies, they did love the feeling of immersing themselves into the prequel universe. using a wide different range of vehicles such as the Republic gunship, the Ark-170 starfighter, the Jedi starfighters, and then you could also play as the Separatist ships as well, such as Vulture droids and bombers and all that jazz. Multiple eras is something that was missing in Star Wars Battlefront 2015, and it was something many fans were looking forward to, thus causing a lot of disappointment. However, this upcoming Star Wars Battlefront sequel, the head game designers have actually hinted and possibly confirmed that there will be multiple eras. They actually said in an interview, multiple eras. So this is a pretty good confirmation that we will see multiple era content in this sequel. However, the fact remains, we do not know what eras we will be seeing. There's a high chance that it will be content from the new trilogy which is coming out, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and Episode 9, if they want to release that as a DLC. I'm not sure, I'm just speculating. So we will probably see, Rey, Finn, maybe Poe Dameron as heroes, or, Starkiller Base as a map, or Jakku. However, the fact remains that the most sought after era in the Star Wars universe for gaming, according to online polls, according to gaming websites everywhere, is the Clone Wars. Everyone wants the Clone Wars era. I mean, it's just a war, isn't it? I get that the original trilogy is a war and the sequel trilogy is a war, but the prequel trilogy, just had that feeling, You had all these Jedi, you had all these clones, droids. Whilst we might not have liked the prequel movies, the war, the gaming experience, it was just amazing. And that was something that Battlefront 2, the old one, actually centered itself around. The 501st Legion of clones was the main focus of its campaign, and everyone loved it. Multiple eras, especially the Clone Wars eras, is something that the fans really want. I mean, that would introduce different maps. Imagine going to war back on Geonosis or Coruscant, different heroes. Imagine being able to play as Yoda again, but in a next-gen console, or Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Anakin Skywalker before he turned into Darth Vader. Perhaps even Qui-Gon Jinn from the Sith, playing as Count Dooku or Darth Maul. It would be an extremely immersing and fun experience. This leads me to another thing. The Clone Wars era would offer different soldiers, clones. And now, Battlefront 2015 did offer the chance, later on especially in the game, to change skins, customize, and all that sort of jazz. Imagine customizing your own soldier in the Clone Wars era. Imagine your very own clone, adjusting the paint. Maybe you want blue for the 501st Legion, or orange for the 212th Legion. It would be so awesome to do this. You could add maybe a visor on its head, choose between twin pistols, a heavy blaster. It would just be awesome. This would also introduce different vehicles, such as the ATTE Walker, which a lot of you guys like, the Ark-170 Starfighter, all these prequel vehicles, prequel maps, prequel heroes. It would just add so much more content to the game, and we would love it. This leads me on to point number 3 that we want in Star Wars Battlefront 2 2017, and that is class types. Now, many of you might have remembered the class system from Battlefront 2, the old one, and might have noticed that Battlefront 2015 had kind of shifted its position on this. There were no class types. Instead, everyone was free to just choose their own blaster, choose their own star cards, as they were called. And whilst many people liked this, a lot of people didn't. Class types makes the game more tactical. Here you have a medic who can maybe only deploy the Bacta bombs. Here you have a heavy trooper who can hold like a railgun or a minigun. It just adds that kind of specialization to gameplay, which Battlefront 2 was kind of lacking. It was very uniform, very generic, in its gameplay. Everyone was kind of the same. Star Wars Battlefront 2, the old one, had more of a specialized individual experience in which, you could actually form kind of squads in which you had, a heavy trooper, regular infantry trooper, an engineer to repair vehicles, a medic to support your squad. Imagine this in Star Wars Battlefront 2 in 2017. That would be extremely fun, extremely specialized, extremely individual, and something that a lot of fans would be looking forward to. This is kind of leads me to a side point. It's not a major point that we want, but it was something that would kind of enhance this. The specialization of the gameplay in Star Wars Battlefront 2 in 2017 would be something that would need in-game voice chat. Now, I know a lot of you out there don't like the people in the voice chat, screaming, or maybe you do. It's funny. I certainly like it. It's funny to hear people rage online. However, the fact remains that in Battlefront 2015, you might not have noticed, but there's no in-game communication whatsoever. You can't communicate with your fellow troops. There's no strategy. There's nothing. You can't form up squads or go with your friends unless you want to do a Skype call outside the game, but that's a whole nother story. Imagine this Battlefront sequel in 2017 in which you could chat to each other, have different squads, kind of like in Battlefield 1. Have different squads, you've got a leader, each of you is a different class system, go and capture objectives. It would just add to that kind of tactical specialization of the gameplay, which I feel like Star Wars Battlefront 2015 was sorely lacking. Now, maybe the class system isn't for everyone, especially people new to the gaming experience and kind of just want to enjoy themselves without having to worry too much. However, Star Wars fans are pretty devoted, and I think it's safe to say that the class system would appeal to the majority of Star Wars fans out there. As with Star Wars fans, it's kind of go hard or go home. There's not a lot of half-hearted ones out there. This leads me on to my final point, the fourth thing we want to see in Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a single-player campaign. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this has been confirmed already. We will be receiving a single-player campaign. Now, let me just run you through some of the reasons why we would want that. Star Wars Battlefront 2015 lacked a single-player campaign, thus it felt extremely thin. There was a lack of content, there was no real connection with the game. Yeah, we had multiplayer, but multiplayer is kind of just a surface kind of thing. There's no actual in-depth communication with the game. You don't feel a connection to the game or the characters, they're just soldiers. Thus, this would add a deeper connection between player and game. It would also add more content to keep players interested for a longer time, thus contributing to more players playing the game overall. It would also allow for a more in-depth look at the Star Wars universe. I mean, any Star Wars story is accepted by fans and would add to the overall experience of Star Wars. Thus, they wouldn't shy away from a campaign. And many have also requested it, which is good that they've finally listened and confirmed it. And also, I think here they've got a chance for kind of like a war story. We're kind of given a taste of it in Rogue One, and I think a lot of fans like that kind of darker war story side to the Star Wars universe. Thus, we all want a single-player campaign, which is happy they've confirmed it. It's all good. We will be receiving that. As to what that campaign is, we don't know yet. This leads me to my final point, a different DLC system. Many were frustrated by the lack of content in Star Wars Battlefront 2015, and thus felt ripped off when they had to pay copious amounts of money for the 4 expansion packs of the Season Pass. Now, the DLCs, I've got to admit, were well done. The heroes were nice, Bosk, Greedo, Jyn Erso, all that. Especially Scarif DLC, that was fun. And they did do a good job on the DLC. However, fans shouldn't be having to pay for that. I'm a firm believer that a game should be a game, complete in its entirety. They shouldn't be having to pay for more expansions to improve their experience. I mean, it should be there from the outset. So if they did have DLC, instead of large expensive purchasing, we should have free DLC supported by maybe microtransactions if they really want it. DLC should be free on weapons to ensure an even play field, and maybe only pay for maps or heroes and game modes. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Those are the top 5 things we want to see in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Number 1, space battles. Number 2, multiple eras, specifically Clone Wars. Number 3, class systems. Number 4, a single player campaign. And number 5, a different DLC system. Let me know if there's anything I missed or anything you guys wanted to see in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 that might not have made my list. So, thank you for watching, guys. I really appreciate you watching. As you know, I'm a brand new YouTube channel, so leaving a like and subscribing would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching, guys, and tune in for the next video soon. This is Star Wars Revolution, signing out. Whether you're a Sith or a Jedi, you're always